Well, September is Self-Care Awareness Month, in which most advice assumes long focus and strict routines. Unfortunately for people who have ADHD, that advice doesn't work. Really, one size in this case does not fit all.
Calissa Ngozi, a mental health educator, has written a book called The Oxygen Mask Mindset, a bestseller on Amazon already, providing different styles of self-care tips for people who have ADHD. And Calissa joins us live now this morning. Calissa, welcome to the show and congrats on your new book released a few weeks ago. Yeah. I love the oxygen mask analogy. We've all heard of it. Like, if you don't save or help yourself, you're of no use to the people around you.
Absolutely.
So hence self-care comes in. I understand you have ADHD. Can you talk about your journey with that and what self-care means to someone like you?
Absolutely. So I identify as being neurospicy. So I always knew.
Sorry, I love that.
It's true though, right? Like you get a little bit of spice to you, but you can't really describe what it is.
Yeah.
I wasn't diagnosed until I was an adult. So I always knew that there was something going on. I've been working in children's mental health and all mental health for over 20 years now. I even diagnosed my own kid at like 6 months old. I said, I think there's something a little bit different about him. But I didn't recognize that into myself until someone said to me, have you been checked? Like it kind of makes sense because you're always go, 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 go. Once I had that diagnosis, for me, it was very important to kind of understand it and then see the premise of self-care because our brain is wired differently. It just is, right? So how do I take care of myself? And my brain isn't the same as yours.
So in that, rationale, the idea that one size doesn't fit all makes an entire lot of sense here. How can people dealing with ADHD, do you say tailor or do you say alter, adjust? How do you do that? Because obviously you still want to do the self-care, but you want to do it that makes it work for yourself as well.
Yeah, and I think it's understanding that it's okay that you're different and you need to embrace it.
Yeah.
But what I try to do is give you the tools and expertise so that you don't feel like you're so much different from everyone else that it becomes an issue, becomes a problem. So I think by understanding that your rituals and your routines aren't going to look the same as someone else that doesn't have a neurodivergent, any side effects or anything of that nature. So I created something called the CARE tool. Okay, so with the CARE tool, we have clarity, we have activity, we have resilience and engagement, right? So we want to know, what's happening with our life. And we also need to make sure that we are not fighting the wiring that we're dealing with. And sometimes we do. And some people need medication, some people don't. It doesn't matter. You do what works for you and for your family.
Right.
And your book really is a guide to that. And you've made it, formatted it, so that it is kind of friendly to someone with ADHD. I'm curious about this concept of the body double. Can you elaborate on that?
So essentially, you are outside of your body, right? And you're looking at this person and saying, I want them to be perfect. I want them to, be able to go through all these routines and all those things. Life isn't perfect. We aren't perfect. So it's understanding that, okay, if this version of Calissa is not okay today, then I'm going to embrace that, right? And it's going to change from day to day. Even things like your bedtime rituals. Maybe you go to bed at 9 o'clock every night. For an ADHD brain, that ritual is going to make me more conflicted. It's going to make me go through all these motions, and it's going to make me overstimulated. And I don't want to be overstimulated.
Right.
Yeah. You got enough spice going on already.
Oh my gosh, I have so much going on. I can't handle it all.
So, but let's circle back. You acknowledged yourself that you didn't get diagnosed until you were an adult. Do you think there's a lot of people that are around, in the world who actually don't know that in fact they are? And what's your advice to them? Because I think that's really key. Because I'm sure a lot of people, ADHD in kids, got to look. But then adults, we're kind of like leaving ourselves out of the equation.
Well, I think a lot of times it's been also over-diagnosed, but just as much underdiagnosed, especially in females. So we present differently, because when we see boys when they're younger, a lot of times they're super hyper. They're running all over the place. It doesn't necessarily mean they have ADHD. Maybe they're just hyper and they're growing into themselves. As an adult, if you feel that it's actually starting to trigger you in ways that it's affecting your daily living, then talk to a doctor and say, listen, do I need counseling? Maybe cognitive behavior therapy? Is medication going to help me? Or do I continue living how I am because now I can embrace this syndrome that I have and it's my new normal?
Okay, Calissa, wish we had more time to talk. What's your one tip, your one kind of go-to self-care ritual for someone with ADHD? Pardon me.
I think it's to embrace that it's okay to not be okay. So when you're in those moments with an ADHD brain, let it go. Right? Honestly, because just because you're a little bit different than somebody else doesn't mean that that's a bad thing.
Just like Elsa said, let
it
go.
go,
let it go.
Let it go.
Always a pleasure. Good luck. Congratulations on the book as well. Thanks for this conversation this morning. Great to see you.
Thanks so much. Great to meet you.